The Biden administration has decided to extend the pause on student loan payments until May 1st. This is another extension of the moratorium that began in March of 2020 because of the pandemic. And tonight's Eye on Keloland, Lauren Solik takes a look at what people with student loans can be doing now, as well as the impact the student loan pause has had on the economy.
Undergraduates in the United States have an average debt of $30,000 in student loans. That's an average payment of $400 a month.
It's the children of the working class and lower classes that are having to take out loans to be able to pursue the American dream, right? To be all that they can be, to try and have some upward social mobility.
Borrowing is a major portion of what students and families do when they go to college, especially at like the graduate school level, unless you're getting a repayment from your employer or a payment from your employer.
For the last year and 9 months, the government has placed a hold on federal student loan repayments and stopped interest from accruing on them.
That's money that ends up being respent in our economy. People are using it to pay their rent, they're using it to buy groceries, to pay their medical bills, to meet other debt commitments. And so when that debt is forgiven, it really is a powerful thing.
Biden said as a presidential candidate that he would forgive student loans while in office. But what would happen to the economy if those debts were canceled?
The economists at the Levy Institute did a simulation of this, I think, in 2018. And at the time, when they estimated a complete student loan forgiveness, it would generate $108 billion, up to $108 billion a year for 10 years in terms of overall GDP. And they thought it would also lower unemployment rate based on the simulation that they did.
South Dakota State Senator Reynold Nesipa is an economics professor at Augustana University in Sioux Falls. He says canceling that debt would be like a tax cut.
In this case, most of the debts for the last 20 years or so have really moved over to the Department of Education, either the Department of Education granting those or the Department of Education serving as a consolidator of debt. So much of that debt is owed to the federal government. So it looks like a tax, actually. It looks like a tax with a pretty high interest rate on it that the federal government for the last couple of years has been deferring the payments. So being able to forgive those liabilities, it's like decreasing somebody's tax.
For now, though, the loans are just on hold until May 1st. Scott Polson, the vice president of enrollment at USD, offers advice on what you could be doing with your loans in the meantime.
Well, I think the best advice I would give you as someone, again, who has debt myself on this is that you kind of have to assess whether or not you want to continue to pay that down, right? So if you want to take the principal amount, is what it's called in a loan, and pay that down, it's a great time to do it because you're not accruing interest. You're kind of almost doubling down if you think about compounded interest.
He says to make sure you understand which type of loan you have.
If you're in a loan forgiveness plan, like an income-based plan, they might forgive these months in the future based on your income growth or what that ends up being. So you kind of you need to call your debt provider, really understand what are the pros and cons to it.
The 40 million Americans with student debt have felt the impact of the moratorium.
And right now, those debts are really a drag on the economy for young people, right? That if you have high levels of debt, it delays marriage, it delays buying a house, it delays buying a car or appliances or furniture. It just is restraining in terms of spending.
You know, about a third of all students that have debt are in default. And so you can have like wage garnishment, tax refunds pulled back. So I think it's more about assessing, is a third, a heavy burden? Yeah, for a lot. But there's so many variables inside that I think, in my opinion, any sort of alleviation of debt would be something that's going to have to take a lot more conversations.
With Eye on Keloland, I'm Lauren Solik.
The student loan moratorium only applies to federal loans. Private student loans still need to be paid at this time.